Well, welcome to another edition of Believe in the Bronx. Pete Caldera here in Toronto. Mike Stanton back at the studios in Houston, and we've got a lot on tap for today. Aaron Judge, some sign stealing potentially going on. What's going on with the Yankees pitching, some of the injury updates, and we'll get once again Mike Stanton's thoughts on an event that happened in 1998, 25th anniversary of the Yankees' great World Championship team. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's finally starting to warm up down here. I don't know what it's doing in the Northeast, but yeah, we're back. We're in shorts. We're ready to go. We're ready for summer.
It's actually a beautiful couple nights here in Toronto. They had the roof open, which is always nice.
Oh,
Makes
wonderful.
a huge difference.
Yeah.
Rogers Center
Makes the ball fly, though.
Makes the ball fly. It was flying for Aaron Judge with 2 home runs the other night, and then his last at bat, potentially a little controversy. You know, cameras are pervasive everywhere, and of course they caught Judge potentially peering into his own dugout to perhaps get a sign relayed back to him. Now, Judge says he was trying to quote, get his teammates to calm down after Aaron Boone was ejected.
Right.
If you want to buy that, go right ahead. That's their story. They're sticking to it. But listen, we all know there's gamesmanship in baseball.
Of course.
Sign stealing in some way or shape or form has gone on for 150 years. And I know, I'm pretty sure you're an advocate of this, that if you can do it just by sight and have a subtle relay either to a hitter or a guy on base or to a coach that could get those signs back, done in real time on the field. To me, that's gamesmanship. It's perfectly legal. You're not doing anything electronic or anything. You're not looking at a video monitor or something like that.
Right.
And there are ways to police that as well. Somebody could get an inside pitch if they feel like they're taking signs from the other team too, or just conceal your signs better. Just wondering what your take is on that.
Yeah, I don't think this was a sign stealing situation. You know, Judge looked back. He did not look down. You got to remember, where is the catcher? The catcher is below him, especially for a guy that's 6'7". I think really what was happening was I leaned towards believing Aaron Judge. I mean, there's no reason not to believe him. And it was one of those situations. There was a lot of talking. There was a lot of chirping coming from the dugout. You know, Judge actually had called timeout to try and get everyone, calm down a little bit. Especially once Booney got kicked out of the game, then the dugout really starts kicking in. And so, it's just one of those unfortunate things. But yeah, if you're going to steal signs with your own eyesight, your own wits, just on the field, that's always been known as good baseball. That's just really paying attention to your surroundings, paying attention to your opponents. If they're going to give you something, you take it. But I don't think that's what this really was. I think this had more to do with the umpire. I think this had more to do with Booney just standing up for his players. We know that you may like Aaron, you may not like Aaron, but the one thing he does do, he is a player's manager. They love the way he takes up for them. And you know what? It's good theater when he gets kicked out every once in a while.
Yeah, it's right. He winds up that chewing gum and throws it about 90 miles an hour towards the dugout. And yes, and we should also.
Yeah, 30 years ago, that might have been something other than chewing gum.
Right, yes. Right. And disclaimer too, the Yankees are saying that Judge and Boone and the Yankees are saying that this was a matter of trying to quiet their own dugout out.
Yeah.
I mean, any speculation that about sign stealing is what, I mean, listen, we can all have our own opinions or speculate about these things, but the Yankees are saying they're not. I guess we'll find out more about how the Blue Jays feel about this.
Yeah.
And there are ways to pass location and things like that. But listen, the other part of this was Jay Jackson was just throwing a steady diet of sliders and more sliders, and Judge saw a lot of those in a 1-2 count, and then deposited the next one 462 feet away. And I think we all understand from watching Aaron Judge to his career now and 62 homers last year that he doesn't need anybody's help to help hit balls 450 feet. So, but I guess this is all part of the speculation and the part of baseball that, listen, I don't know. I mean, I used to cover Bobby Valentine. He was one of the best sign stealers in the business. When he was the Mets manager, and before that with Texas and things like that. Carlos Beltran could pick up stuff in the dugout,
yes.
pitchers' tendencies. There were guys who were just so adept at picking up the subtleties. How a guy holds his glove, how anything like that for a pitcher. So
Guilty.
I mean, as a pitcher too, you always had the right. I mean, you had to control what your actions were. You don't want to be tipping anything. I mean, guys tip pitches all the time.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And it's kind of a lost art. There's not, the players, and this isn't against the current day players, but I don't think that they pay as much attention because of the analytics, because of all just the way the game is done now. I don't think players pay as much attention to the little subtle things that pitchers do on the mound, and I'm guilty of it. Todd Green, the catcher, when he came over to the Yankees, he got called up middle of the season. I don't remember what year it was, late 90s. And he actually comes up to me, "Hey, Todd, hey, Mike, what's going on?" We're going back and forth. He goes, "When I was with the Angels, we had your curveball, right?" I said, no. Now, the Angels always had hit me pretty well. The Texas Rangers, also, I think they had my curveball, and it wasn't something. And the crazy thing was, Mel Stottlemyre, no one with the Yankees really picked up on it. And what I would do was I'd have my finger outside my glove, and I held my hands one way on a fastball, and I held my hands another way on the curveball. And that was the indicator. And it's something as subtle as that. So it's not even during the pitch. I was really advertising it. And it was, I had my finger out. So it was like a big white needle telling you exactly what pitch was coming. And that's when I actually took I had a Wilson contract at the time. They covered my finger. So now at least you couldn't see my finger. Even though I still had it outside the glove, and I paid attention to it a little bit. But being the hard-headed reliever that I was, the way I viewed it, you know what? With my curveball, if you know it's coming and I throw a good one, it really doesn't matter that you're not going to hit it. Now, the margin for error obviously shrinks greatly, but yeah. So yeah, this is something that happens all the time. This should happen. Like I said, if the other team is going to give you something, I mean, it's just good, sound baseball that you take it.
Right. Yeah. That's listen, it goes on all the time.
And as far as Judge hitting the home run, I mean, he saw a bunch of sliders. This was one that was elevated a little bit. It was out over the plate, and big dude like Judge, that's exactly where he wants the ball. And I'll tell you what, when he hits it, they stay hit. That was a very well struck baseball.
That was that was something to see. And this and as you said, when the roof is open here, if you make contact the way Judge can,
I just got the chills. I just got the chills thinking about pitching with the roof open.
Yes, you got a good chance if you're sitting in that restaurant above the batter's eye in center
field. That's right. You pay attention to the pitches. Pay attention.
Yeah. The Yankees did something unique to them, at least. They started with an opener the other night with Jimmy Cordero going against the heavily right-handed Toronto Blue Jays lineup for 2 innings. And then they brought Johnny Brito in. Now, Brito has had some reverse splits. He's been better against lefties than righties. Right. And Aaron Boone's thinking was, Cordero, who has limited, right-handers very well this year. They haven't, I think, just 2 extra base hits, no home runs against him, a sub 200 average. That that would be the way to start things out, and it worked. I don't know how much in practice you can do this, if they'll be doing this more often, but they're hopefully going to get Luis Severino back into their rotation, possibly as early as Sunday in Cincinnati. So either Brito or Clark Schmidt is probably going to lose his rotation spot. And I'm thinking if it's Schmidt, he probably goes back to the bullpen. If it's Brito, he goes into Scranton's rotation. But at least for the Yankees' sake, they look like they're getting one of their big rotation pieces back sooner than later.
Yeah, and it's going to be huge. Even Garrett Cole has slowed down just a little bit his last couple starts after getting off to a crazy good start here early in 2023. They need help in the rotation. I mean, they've been doing a pretty good job. They're above 500. They're playing adequate baseball right now, but it seems like a broken record. We talk about this, seems like every year. They need to get healthy, and if they get healthy, you like where they are. There's still a lot of baseball to be played, but getting Severino back could be a huge, huge part of them getting on some kind of run, because we know when Severino is right, he's as good as anybody in the league. I mean, this guy's got big time stuff. He's a strike thrower, but he needs to be healthy. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's exactly what happens. As far as using the opener, obviously the Rays are the team that really coined the phrase. They're really the ones that kind of made this in vogue, made it sexy. I don't mind it. Sometimes I think it's done a little bit too much, even though it's slowed down over the last year or two, just because, Tampa has a real rotation now. They still use it occasionally, but people need to understand, why do you do it? It's really not that much about the pitching. What it's about is the offense. It gives your team, you get a reliever out there, you're only going to go through the lineup one time. We all know the hardest time to hit in a game is late in the game, when you're getting a different reliever every single inning. You don't get 2 at-bats against the same guy. And what it does, you have a better chance of putting up a couple zeros in those first couple innings, and then to let your offense get into the flow of the game. Instead of, giving up a run or two. We see it all the time. A pitcher goes, 5 or 6 innings, gives up a run or two in the first inning, and he very well may end up getting the loss, just simply because he was the first one to give up runs. So if you can let the offense kind of ease into the game, not have the pressure, of the win or the loss in the first couple innings in your first at bat, no team is made to play from behind. And I think that's one of the, there's many reasons, but that's one of the reasons why you actually use a reliever to open the game, and then bring the starter, they call it the bulk guy, the starter in back behind him to get the ball to your late inning guys.
Yeah, and it was a rare instance. Who knows if we'll see it again, but it seemed to work for them, at least in this instance. The other guy that they're hoping to get back at some point, Carlos Rodon, just had a cortisone shot for his back in Tampa. He's scheduled for another one. He may or may not receive it this week. He's starting to slowly ramp back up to a throwing program. But, if all goes well, still, Mike, you're looking at mid-July to have him back in the rotation. That's not what they anticipated going into the season, obviously.
Oh, no. I mean, you're talking about one of the best left-handers in the game, again, when healthy. It just hasn't been healthy at all, and it's unfortunate because this guy is special when he's on the mound. The reason why they're not sure about the second cortisone shot is to see how he feels after the first cortisone shot. And to me, that's kind of a little bit of a red flag, just simply because I don't know if I've ever really heard of a player getting 2 cortisone shots back to back. So we'll have to wait and see exactly. Hopefully that's not the case. But you're right. He's been off long enough now. He's basically got to go through spring training again. And with the back issue, you're not doing a whole lot of the conditioning that you need to do to get out there on the mound. It's not just about his arm. It's about the body also. So, it's unfortunate that this happened. Hopefully the first cortisone shot knocks out whatever needs to be knocked out, and he can get back on the rehab schedule and get back sooner than later. But it sure doesn't look that way.
Yeah, I guess best case scenario, he's a second half pitcher for the Yankees, and then
trade deadline acquisition.
Trade deadline acquisition. If you're really optimistic that he's saving up a lot of bullets and wouldn't be as tired as maybe a starting pitcher might be down the stretch and into October. They seem to be slow playing Josh Donaldson. Has not been been scheduled for a rehab assignment yet, even though he's been doing everything on the field, hitting, throwing, running. So we'll just stay tuned for that. Giancarlo Stanton is you're still looking at probably early June at the earliest to see him back in the lineup from a hamstring issue. Tommy Kahnle is down in Florida. He's going to start a rehab assignment either this weekend or early next week, and you could see him back in their bullpen around June 1st, and that's
right.
That's a good development. And I mean that's they've been getting by. Actually, more than getting by in the bullpen, Mike, with with guys like Ian Hamilton and Marinaccio's picked it up lately. Clay Holmes has looked better. Wandy Peralta, 2 straight saves against the Rays. So they're getting bang for their buck out of that bullpen. But
Sure.
just having Kahnle back, I think, is going to help a lot.
Yeah, it'll just be another weapon that Booney can go to late in the game. And again, the health is always important. But they've done, to tell you the truth, I think the bullpen has done a pretty remarkable job with the injuries that they've had. The players, the pitchers that they have, they do not have the option to put in the game right now because of the IL. So, yeah, that would be a big piece. And then as far as JD, it's weird. Well, one of the reasons why they haven't started a rehab assignment, because once you start the rehab assignment, you only have a limited number of days and you have to bring him back up. Right. And I don't, it kind of gets my attention. Raises my eyebrows a little bit on exactly what they're trying to do here. But at some point they have to send him out on the rehab. And I think, Pete, you may know this better than I do. Is it still 20 days? Is that the max rehab? It's still 20 days?
I think it is. I don't know. Now, is it longer for pitchers than position players? It could be.
It might be. But I think at least position players, I think it's, you have a max of 20 games at a rehab assignment. And then, you have to make a move and get him back in the big leagues.
Right. And, the other part of this is that, DJ LeMahieu's playing a really nice third base right now.
That's part of it.
They've kind of got an infield set with Rizzo, who's kind of been their offensive hero. Yeah. Most consistent guy all year. Gleyber Torres at second, Volpe at short, who's maturing every day and looking better and giving competitive at bats and playing his position well, and then LeMahieu at third, and they may not, in some ways, not really want to upset that apple cart
right. I mean, the way DJ is playing at third, that has something to do with it. You're exactly right, because once you do that, it just DJ knowing that Donaldson is coming back, that may change a little bit of his approach. And sometimes, you have a addition by not doing anything at all. Things are going pretty well right now, and, it can change tonight. You never know, but, it seems like they're dragging their feet a little bit on Josh Donaldson.
Yeah. One more thing to watch for this week. Nestor Cortes, in his last 4 starts, he's had an 8.5 ERA and has had trouble third time through that lineup. Says he's healthy, hamstring fine. He was over about a strep throat about 2 weeks ago, which may have contributed to some of this, but it's just something to watch for in his next start to see if he can give him some length and a little more effectiveness.
The stuff still looks pretty good from Nestor, so it's not like there's a big downgrade in velocity or everything's flattening out. That third time through the lineup, if you go back 30, 40 years, the starting pitcher, especially the veteran starting pitchers, they didn't use their whole arsenal from the first inning. They would actually try and get through the lineup the first time, maybe mostly fastballs and a couple breaking balls, something like that, instead of, throwing the kitchen sink at the first hitter. And that's really a trend that you see all the way across baseball now, that you're not saving anything for that third and fourth time through. So maybe if he could be a little bit more efficient early in the game, maybe not use so many of the off-speed pitches, because like Judge last night, he saw so many sliders. All it was going to take was a mistake, and that's what he ends up hitting it, 460 feet. That was a mistake breaking ball. But, he's probably sitting on it. The count is 1-2, and he had already seen several in the at-bat. So there was no surprise there.
Right.
So maybe he can, that third time through the lineup, what the pitchers really have to concentrate on is the starters is execution. I have to have location. If I have location, I'm going to be fine. But when when a hitter is already seen, 9 or 10 or 12 pitches in his first 2 at bats, and he's seen everything you have, there is no surprises now. Now it's all about location, location, location.
Right. And just to finish up with one more left-hander you knew pretty well, Dave Boomer Wells.
Yeah.
This week is the 25th anniversary of his perfect game. Just want to get your recollections about that day. You're probably in the bullpen for
I was
that, and I don't. Did you ever get warmed up? Did anybody ever warm up?
I don't think anyone even warmed up. I think that maybe Mariano at the end, but I don't remember anyone warming up in the game. He was really good that day. Now we have to remember the Twins weren't a great hitting club that year, but listen, they got a stick. They're at the plate. They got a chance. And there were a few mistakes that were missed. You look at the last pitch that was a pop up to right field. That was kind of a mistake. But hey, you know what? He got the no hitter. He got the perfect game. It was really cool to see, to be in the stadium. The place was rocking and rolling. Yankee fans, like always, they knew exactly what was happening. You weren't fooling anyone. No one was saying it, because Yankee fans have a tendency to be superstitious. But that was a special day, and we had a good celebration afterwards.
Yeah, that was a memorable night. And then we could talk about this on another podcast, but 2 nights later, you had an epic brawl against the Baltimore Orioles that everybody's still talking about too.
Oh yeah, I remember that one very well. That was. Armando Benitez.
All right, well, that's it for this edition of Believe in the Yankees.
That's a tease for the next one.
Yes, we've got a whole treasure trove of 98 memories we want to get into.
That's it.
And so that's it from here in Toronto, and Mike back in the studios in Houston. We will see you back in New York next week.